Hello students, welcome to the course on Verilog HDL. In the previous video, we have seen what is meant by modules and instances. Okay, so this is the last part. Okay, we will be discussing the components of a simulation. Okay, so what is meant by design block and what is meant by stimulus block, and we will explain this with an example of a ripple carry counter which we discussed in the first video. Okay, so this is the last session on this module as well as unit. Okay, so be in tune with this. So there are two distinct components in a simulation. Okay, a design block and a stimulus block. Okay. Once a design block is completed, it must be tested. Okay, so what is meant by design block, which is nothing but writing the code in different abstraction levels. Okay, gate level, switch level, behavioral level, data flow level, just we mentioned in the previous class, right? So the stimulus block means the functionality of the design block can be tested by applying stimulus and checking results. We call such a block the stimulus block. Okay, for example, if you have designed some project, right, or if you have done a new vehicle, right, you have to test it, right? So all its brake, all these things are working or not. The same way your digital design should be tested, and that testing block we call it as stimulus block. Okay, it is good practice to keep the stimulus and design blocks separate. Okay, so it is a good practice, but you can mix it also. The stimulus block can be written in Verilog. Okay, so this we have mentioned in advantages of HDL itself. For stimulus block, you no need to write another separate program. You can write it in Verilog itself. That's why design and stimulus both we can write it in Verilog. So a separate language is not required to describe stimulus. And this stimulus block is also commonly called a test bench. Okay, so different test benches can be used to thoroughly test the design block. In the CAD tool which we use, okay, different vendors will use different names. So in the Xilinx tool, so we'll be calling design block as modules, Verilog module, and the stimulus block we call it as test bench. Okay, so this is how the two blocks we are going to introduce here. Okay, so now we'll discuss the stimulus, how we are going to instantiate the design block. So either it is inside the stimulus block or it is a separate. Okay, so there are two techniques are there. There are two different styles of applying stimulus to a design block. Okay, stimulus to a design block means what? Giving test cases to a your design. In the first style, the stimulus block instantiates the design block and directly drives the signals in the design block. Okay, so here we have shown a figure. Okay, so this is a stimulus block. Okay, in this figure, stimulus block becomes the top level block and it manipulates signals, clock and reset. Okay, so the stimulus block will give you the values for clock and reset from its stimulus block, and it will go through the design block. Okay, and performing the operations, it will give the result q back to the stimulus block. Okay, finally this output can be displayed or you can draw a waveform also. Okay, so that is about the first method. Okay, first style, so you will have a stimulus block, you are instantiating the design block. Second style of applying stimulus is to instantiate both the stimulus and design blocks in a top level dummy module. So you will not instantiate inside a stimulus block, both we will instantiate in a on some top level block, dummy block. Okay, the stimulus block interacts with the design block only through the interface. Okay, so this is the design block. In design block we are using some variables, clock, reset and q, similar parameters, okay, of data type same. Stimulus block we are using but not the same name, right? Just to differentiate, d underscore clock, d underscore reset, c underscore q you have written. Okay, so this will be the interfacing. So the stimulus block will give this clock and reset to design block, it will perform the operations and then q will give the result and it will be there in the c of q, and both these modules were instantiated inside a dummy top level block. Okay, so this is the second method. Okay, so depending on the design, we'll be using either of the style of the applying stimulus. Okay, stimulus and design block instantiated in a dummy top level module. So just to explain the same, stimulus module drives the signals d clock and d reset which are connected to the signals clock and reset in the design block, and it also checks and displays signals c underscore q which is connected to the signal q in the design block. Okay, already I explained that the function of the top level block is simply to instantiate the design and stimulus block. It does not take care of any signal values and all. Okay, so both it will just instantiate. So design block, stimulus block will send the values of inputs, design block will compute it, and it will send it back the results to stimulus block. Okay, either stimulus style can be used effectively. So this is about the simulation and the different styles of applying stimulus to a design block. So now we will explain this concept with a example, okay, which we have discussed in first module also, first video also of the second unit, second video also we have used this example. So now we'll write a complete program. Okay, so just don't bother about the internals, how it is written program. So just the concept here, what we have learned, that we try to understand. So define the design block and the stimulus block. Okay, so first we need to do this, and then we will apply stimulus to the design block and monitor the outputs. So that is what the concept here. So design block, so first plan we have to do, right? We use a top down design methodology, right? We will use the first kind. So we'll have a ripple carry counter, it will instantiate 4 T flip flops, and T flip flop will instantiate D flip flop and not gate, right? So remember that picture if you are not gone through, so just go through that video and come back here. Okay, so we write the Verilog description of the top level design block, which is the ripple carry counter. So first program, we'll write a Verilog module for the top level block. Then in the above module, 4 instances of the module T flip flop are used. So same way we will write the program, and then we will write a second Verilog module to define the internals of the module T flip flop. Whatever name we have given, same name we have to give in this module. Then again, if you go see T flip flop, it has instantiated D flip flop. So now we have to define the third Verilog module D flip flop. So in the design block, there will be 3 programs going to come: ripple carry counter, T flip flop, and D flip flop. So this is in a top-down design hierarchy. Just to explain you this, we'll be writing. Okay. We assume asynchronous reset for the D flip flop. Finally, we need to define the functionality of the D flip flop. For that asynchronous reset, we will use. Okay. All modules have been defined down to the lowest level leaf cells in the design methodology. Okay, so this is to explain you. So just focus on the program how we are writing. So this is the figure, we will refer it from the first figure, right? So ripple carry counter, it will be having 4 T flip flops. So T underscore flip flop is the module, but instances are different here. First instance here, TFF0. For this, clock reset is the input, and Q0 is the output. Okay, in vector form we will write it as Q of 0. Okay, then second flip flop reset, Q of 0 is the input, Q of 1 is the output. Third flip flop, Q of 1 reset is the input and Q of 2 is the output. Fourth flip flop, Q of 2 reset is the input, Q of 3 is the output. So same way we'll instantiate the block. Look at this program. So module, it will start with module keyword, module name, right? So this is the module name, module ripple carry counter. Module name ripple carry counter. Just a minute. So this is the module name, and then argument list. Okay, what are the inputs and outputs? All we will write it inside a bracket with a comma operator. Okay, Q, clock, and reset. It can be written in any order, input, output, all things should be there here. So then we have to define the inputs and outputs. So output, same parameter, it is having the 4, right? So we'll use a vector form here. So we'll learn it in data types. Okay, so don't bother here. 3 is to 0, Q. Okay, so Q of 0, Q of 1, Q of 2, Q of 3, or else we have to define it as a scalar form: Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, like this. Okay, Q0, output Q0, comma, Q1, Q2, or Q3. Like that, we have to define 4 scalar variables. Okay, like here, input, clock, and reset, 2 scalar variables with a comma we have written. Okay, same way, instead of that, Q is same, so just we can use a vector form. We'll learn this in later. Okay, now we have two instances. So these are the comments. Okay, double line indicates the comments, right? So we will write the multiple line comments using hash star, and the end of the line we'll write star and then hash, right? So this is multiple line comments and this is the single line comment. Okay, 4 instances of the module T flip-flop are created. So same figure will refer T flip-flop is the module name. So this will not change in all the 4 cases. T flip-flop, T flip-flop, T flip-flop, T flip-flop. But instance name will change. Space first cases TFF0. What is the output? Output will write first in this. Q of 0 is the output. Input is clock and reset. Okay. Then second instance TFF1. Q of 1 is the output. Q of 0 is the clock here. Okay, ripple carry counter, right? Output of this will be given to input here and then reset. Okay, reset is common in all the cases. So third flip-flop, Q of 2 is the output. Q of 1 is. So since we have written this vector form, we will write it in square bracket form. Okay. So if you are writing this Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3, then we will write in Q0, Q1, Q2, Q3 like that. Okay. No need to put the brackets. That is the difference. We'll see later. Okay. Reset. Then finally the fourth flip-flop. Q of 3 is the final output. Q of 2 is the input for that and reset. Okay. So here Q of 2 will act as input as well as output. Q of 1 is also like that. Q of 0 is also like that. Input and as well as output. Okay, so but we can define output, so it will take it as input as well as output. Okay, finally end module, so ne semicolon or neo space here. Okay, so this is the first program, ripple carry counter. So now this is the program not ended here. So what we have done here is in the T ripple carry counter we called the 4 instances of T flip-flop. Now we have to define this T flip-flop. So second Verilog program we have to write to define the T flip-flop. For that we'll refer this diagram, right? So we'll be using one D flip-flop and a inverter, right? So then we'll have the output T flip-flop, we'll have clock and reset as the input, Q is the output. That is what we have seen in previous, right? So there will be 4 outputs were there because of the 4 flip-flops. Now for single flip-flop, 1 Q, 1 clock, 1 reset. Okay, and it is using internally D flip-flop and an inverter. So just we need to install these 2 instances in your program. Okay, how to write this? Again, so module name, same thing you have to write, whatever name you have given there. So the same name you have to write it here, T underscore flip-flop. Then argument list, Q clock reset, all input output you have to write. Then you have to define which is output, which is input. So output is Q, input is clock and reset. So there is one wire we are using. This is a data type, okay, of type net D. Okay, so the because we have used a gate there. Okay, so just output of that will be given as input to D flip-flop, right? That's why we have used it. We'll see more internals regarding later. Okay, just try to understand. So now explanation here, 2 we are using. One is D flip-flop you are using. So just you have to call this D flip-flop once. Its instance name is DFF0. Only one flip-flop we are using. Output is Q. D flip-flop output is Q. Inputs are D, that is the output of the NOT gate, right? So you have seen in figure. Then clock and reset, right? So these are the 3 inputs you are giving to D flip-flop. For whereas D flip-flop, okay. Next NOT gate, instance name anything you can give. N1 I have written. So output is D here and the input is Q. Okay. So just to refer that diagram, you will come to know. So NOT is a Verilog provided primitive, okay, and it is case sensitive. If you write capital NOT, it will not take. Okay, so you have to write small NOT only. That is case sensitive. Okay. So this is how we have referred from this diagram. Okay, so here see output of this is given to NOT gate as okay Q input, and the output of that will be given as D. So that's why QD. Clear? So we'll see. Okay, and D flip-flop, T flip-flop input, D clock reset, 3 input, and Q is the output. Okay, that is what written in this internals. Now again we have defined here. So NOT is already defined in Verilog, but D flip-flop is not defined. So you have to define now D flip-flop module, the third Verilog program you have to write to define the behavior or functionality of this D flip-flop. Okay, so it will be looks like this. So just try to understand whatever much you don't bother. Okay, explanation we'll do it in behavioral description. Okay, so again module name D underscore flip-flop, same name should be there. And what are the inputs? QD clock reset, all these argument list you have to fill it. Okay, so this is the comment here. So module D flip-flop which uses asynchronous reset, with synchronous reset they have written. Output is Q here, input is D clock reset, and we have used another data type here, register data type Q, because D flip-flops, so it will store the value, right? So that's why register data type is used. We'll look at more. Okay, so comments are there, and just lots of new construct. Ignore the functionality of the construct at this moment. Okay, concentrate on how the design block is built on a top-down fashion. So ripple carry counter, from there T flip-flop, from T flip-flop you have written D flip. Okay, so sorry for the disturbance. So now, so this is the functionality here. So always, so this is the keyword for behavioral description. Okay, always at. Okay, inside that we are writing the sensitivity list, passage reset or negative edge clock. How to write this and all, we will bother it in behavioral description. So if reset is 1, then output is 0, else Q will be whatever it D input it is coming, so it will be followed. Okay, that is the D flip-flop. Okay, so this now design block we have written. Okay, ripple carry counter, T flip-flop, and then D flip-flop. So now we have to write the stimulus block for this. Again, we'll see the concept how we write design block here. So we must now write the stimulus block to check if the ripple carry counter design is functioning correctly. Okay, so in this case we must control the signals clock and reset so that the regular function of the ripple carry counter and asynchronous reset mechanism are both tested. Okay, so to check that we have to give the clock and reset. That is the main, right? Because we are going to call only ripple carry counter design block now in the stimulus block. First style we will use instantiating a design block inside a stimulus block. Clock and reset are the inputs. Only these two values we are changing. Okay, and then ripple carry counter will call in terms T flip-flop in terms called D flip-flop. So it is the task of the ripple carry counter. So we will not call that in stimulus block. Okay, and finally we use the waveforms to test the design. We'll check with test waveform also. We'll draw waveforms for clock, reset, and 4-bit output Q are shown, and the cycle time for clock is 10 units. Okay, so clock cycle time means what? It is 0 and 1 both. Okay, positive edge and this both together we'll call it as a 1 clock cycle. It is 10 units we are considering, and the reset signal stays up from 0 to 15. Okay, initially it will be up, that means what? Output is 0, and once it is down, so it will be counting the numbers 0 1 2 3 up to 15, repeating. Again, to check asynchronous reset, we'll increase the time 195 to 205. We'll again make the reset 1, so that output whatever may be the count, it will come to 0. Okay, and output Q counts from 0 to 15. We are now ready to write the stimulus block that will create the above waveforms whatever we have said now. So just we will write it in a Verilog program. Okay, and once the stimulus block is completed, we are ready to run the simulation and verify the functional correctness of the design block. Okay, so this is theoretically we are writing the test bench. Okay, so the same thing we are going to do it in laboratory. Whatever new design comes, we will try to run the simulation. So that is HDL lab. Okay, so we'll be coming to know later. So now we are at a level to understand what is the subject is about. Okay, so just we will see the stimulus block. So this is the stimulus block module name is stimulus, and remember in stimulus blocks there is no argument list because there is no input and output, so we will not write that. We will see that more in later. Okay, so how it will be in behavioral description we'll learn. So at this moment you remember there is no argument list, and whatever we have written there, output. Okay, so input we have to declare it as register keyword, register data type, register clock, register reset. Okay, you can write it in single line also, clock comma reset, no issues. Then whatever inputs is there, we will declare it as wire data type. Okay, so that is the 3:0 Q. Okay, so that is the output. Okay, this is the input and this is the output. Okay, the same thing with different name we have used here. Okay. So now we will instantiate the design block. So what is the design block name? Module name we have used first, so that name we are using here, ripple carry counter, and for that counter we are giving one instance name. Okay, so this is important, R1. This will be referred in the design. So Q clock reset, whatever value we have giving here, so that will be passed to the design block. Okay, so now design block will do the calculation and will display the result. So now we have to pass the values. Now clock and reset values we have to pass it, that it will do the operation. Okay, so control the clock signal that drives the design block. Cycle time is equal to 10. Okay, so initial, so there is again behavioral description style. So initially clock is equal to 1 bit 0. Okay, and every 5 time units, so clock will be not off clock. That means initially it is 0, so this is starting from 0 and up to 5 units. Okay, and when it 5, so it will become 1. Okay, and again, so 5 plus 5 here 10. So every 5 always means every 5 time units it is going to be not off clock. Means what? If it is 1, it will become 0. Next again 5 again, if it is 0, it will become 1. Like that it will generate the clock signal for you. Okay, so continuously it will generate. This is the type of generating a clock signal. Okay, toggle clock every 5 time minutes. So this clock now similarly will change the reset values. Continue this program, so it is not completed. Control the reset signal that drives the design block. So reset is asserted from 0 to 20 and from 200 to 220, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so there we are inserting that value. So initial begin reset. Initially it will be, so this is initial. Okay, nothing is there means what? 0 time. Okay, so 0 it will be high. Okay, so this high I will consider 1. Okay, 1 bit 1, and 15 that will be added. 0 plus 15 means what? After 15 time units it will be made 0. Okay, and it will be continuing 0 till 180. So it is not clear here, so this is 180. Okay, 180 reset is equal to 1 bit. That means what? 0 plus 15, 15 plus 180 means 195. Till 195 it will be completely 0. Okay, at 195 it will become 1, and it will stay up to there 10 time minutes. Okay, 195 plus 10 means 205. Till 205 it will be 1, so then it will be 0. Okay, and again after 20 time minutes, so finish. That means end the simulation. So this is going to stop here. Okay, this will show in waveform later, so you'll understand. This is how we have given the clock. So clock is every 5 it will be up and down. Okay, this is continuously. Okay, and this reset. So now based on these two values, now you have to monitor the outputs coming from the ripple carry counter. For that we'll use the directive monitor. Okay, monitor the outputs. Next stage. So how to monitor? Different ways are there. We'll learn it in behavioral description. Okay, initial monitor is the keyword. Okay, inside that this is the simulation time. It will tell this is whatever we have given 0, 15, 180. It will calculate here. Okay, exactly, and then it will display the output queue. Okay, so at every 5 time minutes, wherever it is changed no value, so that it is going to compute the value and it will display the output for you. Okay, so this same like your this one C program you are writing percentage %d. Okay, so same way decimal values of q will be displayed. So this is the stimulus block. So now you have to verify the output. Okay, the final. So all things may not be clear to you, so go back and see this video once again. Okay, so this is an advantage, means we have recorded it, so you can any number of times you can go back and see the video, so that you will understand the concept clear. So this first time, so something whenever it is new, so always it is a very difficult to understand, right? So go back and check once again. Okay, so the concept. Okay, so again I will be telling the same steps in explaining the design, so that another 2-3 designs example you will be clear with HDR. Okay, even lab part also I will be explaining, so there also you will understand. Okay, so now this is the waveform whatever I told you. Okay, so clock. Okay, so clock every 5 time minutes. Okay, you can count it here 5, 10. Okay, so this is one clock cycle, one down and one up. This is called as one clock cycle, which is equal to 10 units. So like that it is continuously giving from clock. Then reset, we have started with 1. Okay, at the 0, and at 15 time minutes we have made it 0. Okay, and again at 195 it is made as 1. Okay, and then at 205 it is again made 0, and then another 2 time minutes. Okay, 220 we have made it stop, right? So now we have to check the output. So whatever may be the clock, so if reset is 1, output is 0. That's why initially it is 0. Okay, so then we have given positive edge of clock, so it will wait for till here. Okay, so when it comes 1 here and the reset is 0, so it will start the count. Okay, so 1 2, so since reset is 0 and clock is toggling every 5 time minutes, so every positive edge of the cycle it will change the count. 2, okay, so next positive edge, 3, next positive edge, 4, like that, 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 15, like this. Okay, so once 15, again it will start 0 because reset is 0 still. 0 1 2, it will start counting. So when it encounters again reset is equal to 1, so whatever may be the count, 0 1 2 3, wherever it is, it should come to 0. That is reset. Okay, so that is what about this. Okay, so once again when you made reset is equal to 0, so again it will start counting from the beginning, not from where you have stopped it. Okay, that is the difference. 0 1 2 3, like that it will repeat. So this is about the design block, stimulus block, and the waveforms. Okay, the same thing can be written as a description of output also. So initially at 0, so monitor output it is. Okay, so we have written in this fashion, $time output q is equal to percentage d of q, right? So that decimal values it is going to write. At 0 it was 0, at 20 q becomes 1, 30 q becomes 2, because every 10 time units. Okay, 40 it is 354. Okay, like that till 190. Okay, so it was 2. At 195 when reset becomes 1, so q becomes 0. Okay, so 0 to 10 it is 1, so 220 it is 2, like that it will restarted here. Okay, so this is about the parts of a simulation, design block and stimulus block. With this we are going to end this unit, hierarchical modeling concepts, as well as we are completing this module unit, module 1. Okay, which encompasses both overview of digital design with Verilog HDL and hierarchical model concepts. So in the next video we will be discussing the module 2 in that unit 3. Okay, so thank you.